The year was 2026, a time of corporate reach when stars were just commodities and orbit was a job. High above the atmosphere on Station Omicron, technician Heather watched the dials while Duke managed the comms. The handbook was specific, Section 8, Verse 4. Fraternization is strictly banned between the shift rotations. But space is cold and lonely, and gravity was gone, and in the silent, floating dark rules tend to drift away. So in a storage module between the crates of nutrient paste, a distinct biological error occurred amidst the stars. The company was furious, and the liability was high. They shipped the couple down the well to deal with birth on soil. They landed back in gravity heavy, hard, and slow, but Heather carried something else, a passenger from the void. The labor was eventful. The doctors gathered round expecting something standard from a typical human birth. But when the boy arrived, the delivery room went quiet. He didn't cry, he didn't squirm, he simply floated up. The umbilical cord was cut, and like a tethered balloon, he drifted toward the surgical lights until the nurse grabbed his foot. He looked like a normal infant, 10 fingers and 10 toes, but when they put him on the scale, the needle didn't move. 1.5 ounces, that was the tally of biological impossibility, a child made of cloud. He had the mass of a letter, the density of a thought. If you didn't hold him tightly, he would settle on the ceiling. And then there was the head, a cranium of note, bulbous, round, and heavy-looking, though light as thistledown. His eyes were vast and dark, like windows to the vacuum taking in the hospital room, with terrifying focus. He didn't want the blanket. He kicked the swaddle off. His skin turned pink and angry. The room was 72. Too hot, his eyes commanded, though he spoke no verbal words. He gasped and panted softly until they iced the crib. He settled at 48, a happy, frozen babe, while Heather shivered in her gown and Duke put on a vest. They took the star child home to a life of compromise, where the AC unit rattled 24 hours a day. If the mercury hit 75, the boy would start to swoon. He'd drift slightly to the left and turn a feverish red. So they lived in winter parkas inside their living room, breath misting in the air, while the baby cooed in frost. Feeding was a battle of geometry and tools, and he looked at silver spoons with deep, profound disgust. He viewed the open bowl as a hazard to the hull. He wanted sealed containment. He wanted pressure valves. He would only eat from pouches, squeezed directly to the mouth, industrial slurry blends that resembled caulking paste. And then there was the thirst, the craving for the orange, the powder of the astronauts, the nectar of the fake. Tang. He demanded Tang, not in a cup or bottle, but in a foil sack. He'd suck the straw intently, his giant eyes unblinking, floating cross-legged in the air 3 feet above the rug. He was exceedingly smart. Too smart for peekaboo. He solved the baby puzzles before they opened the box. He rewired the toaster, using only his mind or perhaps small, fast fingers while his parents were asleep. But the weather was the key, the ruler of his moods. He was a living barometer, sensitive to the sky. When the sun was shining bright and high pressure ruled the day, he was grumpy, low, and sad, hiding under chairs. The weight, he seemed to signal, the column of the air. It pushes on my temples. It feels like heavy lead, but let the clouds roll in. Let the cyclone start to form, let the pressure drop rapidly, and the boy began to shine. He loved a depression system, a tropical storm watch. The lower the millibars, the higher he would fly. During Hurricane Marie, he was positively giddy, doing backflips near the fan, laughing at the rain. Levitation was his walk. Why crawl when you can glide? He treated gravity as a mere suggestion. He'd hover down the hallway to scare the family cat, a silent, floating predator weighing less than a mouse. Taking him to market was a logistical feat. They had to tie a ribbon around his ankle bone. Duke held the string tightly, like walking a helium balloon, for fear a sudden gust of wind would take him to the clouds. People stared in produce at the baby on the leash, hovering by the frozen peas with eyes like saucer plates. He likes the cold, Duke muttered, pulling the ribbon down to put a pouch of yogurt into the floating hand. The boy inspected labels, checking for nutrition, discarding high fructose with a flick of his wrist. Life with the space conceived was distinct and bizarre, a lesson in physics and thermal management. Heather missed the warmth of a summer afternoon, but she loved her zero-G son with his strange, giant head. Duke missed the lower bills of a house not chilled to frost, but he loved the way the boy could float to change the bulb. They were a pioneer family, stranded on the earth with a child of the void who weighed less than a snack. He was a corporate accident, a loophole in the text, a 1.5-ounce miracle sipping Tang in the cold. Watching the Weather Channel, waiting for the storms, and the little boy from orbit finally felt at home.